So I want to introduce you to one of those Marines that were serving with my sons and served with Victor Duell. Let's give it up for First Sergeant Freddy Torres.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. I'm Freddy Torres. I was born in Tucson, Arizona, 2 hours south from here, born and raised here. 2006, I joined the Marine Corps. And just like Coach talked about, I'll just get straight to 2010, October 13th. I was serving with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, an infantry unit out of Camp Pendleton, California, just north of San Diego. October 13th, we lost 4 Marines in one day. That was that roadside bomb that blew up that Humvee truck in the air, instantly killed 4 Marines. 3 months later, December 30th, 2010, another story on why we do this and why we do the honorable and why you're here. December 30th, 2010, the patrol Marines were out in a new area, talking to the local nationals, gaining atmospherics, gaining intelligence. They were out for about 4 hours. They were making their way back to the patrol base, their safe spot where they lived, where they slept. There was about 25 Marines on that patrol that day. On their way back inside the patrol base, one of the Marines in the back stepped on an IED, a roadside bomb. That IED, that roadside bomb, was 25 pounds big. 25 pounds was made to kill all 25 of those Marines on the patrol that day. Thankfully, when he stepped on it, only about 4 pounds went off. It shattered that Marine's foot, broke his leg. They got him out of there, got him in a truck, got him to the next echelon of care. He's fine today. There's 20 pounds of IED sitting out there, a roadside bomb, that the Marines have to go blow in place so the Taliban doesn't pick it back up and use it on them. So the squad leader, the sergeant, the Marine sergeant that day made the decision. He said, let's not take out all 25 Marines again. Let's just take out 4, take a stick of demolition, place it there, pull the string, let the 60 seconds run out, and blow it in place. So they did that. A team of 4 went out. 3 Marines went around the corner to hold security. The sergeant, the squad leader, placed a stick of demolition down. As he's ready to pull the string from the east, about 200 meters out, the Taliban opens up with their machine guns. They start spraying and praying left and right. The sergeant immediately puts his weapon up, his rifle up, and starts running in the direction of the enemy. He shoots, he starts suppressing back. He sees a little divot in a waist-high wall about 20, 30 meters that he was gonna get behind. And once he got there, fell on his back, and he looked down, and his uniform was filled in red, realizing at that time that he had been shot twice, once on each leg. From the corner of his left eye, here comes one of those Marines that were holding security running in his direction to help him out. That Marine gets there, slides in, grabs his medical scissors out, cuts his pants off, blood was gushing out. His femoral artery had been shot on his left leg. So that team leader, that Marine, immediately puts his finger in the wound, puts his palm on it, pulls out gauze, applies it in there, grabs a tourniquet, slaps it on, tightens it up, and controls the bleeding for a little bit. The Marine gets on the radio and he said, my sergeant's shot twice. We have to get a stretcher out here so we can get him to the next echelon of care. A couple minutes pass by, the quick reaction force comes out with the stretcher. They put the sergeant on there. And on the count of 3, that team leader, that Marine that applied medical care, says, everyone open up so that we can move our sergeant and get him to safety, get him to the next echelon of care. So on the count of 3, all the weapons open up and they start suppressing the Taliban, who had still been firing at them this whole time. 1, 2, 3. They pick him up and they're carrying him the last 100 yards into the truck that was waiting for him inside the patrol base. As he's being carried, that sergeant on the stretcher looks up to his left, picks up his left hand, and another sergeant, his best friend, is carrying him. He holds his hand out and he grabs him and he holds hands with him and he said these last words to him. Tell my mom I love her and tell my boys I'm sorry. Squeezes tighter and he says, tell my mom I love her and tell my boys I'm sorry. They get him into the truck. They get him out of Afghanistan, goes to Germany, lands in California and San Diego. That sergeant made it. He started recovery in January 2011, just a few days short after being injured. The doctors came to him a week later after about 10 surgeries and said, your leg's getting amputated next week. Your medical career is over. You cannot serve in the Marine Corps with as an amputee. So that sergeant said, give it a couple of weeks. Let's fight this one out. Let's get through a little bit of physical therapy and see where it goes. The doctor was hesitant, but he agreed to it. The 2 to 3 physical therapies a week turned into 2 to 3 physical therapies a day. 2 to 3 times a week turned into every single day. Fighting, struggling, facing challenges, roadblocks, setbacks. But that sergeant in January knew that when the battalion got back, April 2011, just a few months later, he wanted to stand there at the bottom of that staircase when that plane landed in Riverside, California. So he went through it, he went through it, he went through it. More challenges, more adversaries, more surgeries, more setbacks, more people telling him that he couldn't, he wouldn't, and he shouldn't. Got off the wheelchair, got off the walker, got off the crutches, started walking, started jogging, started running. And then April 2011, when that plane landed at Riverside Air Force Base, that staircase came down. I stood there at the bottom of that staircase and I hugged every single one of my squad members that saved my life just 3 months prior on December 30th, 2010. The doctors told me my leg was getting amputated. I don't share this story to put myself up here. For the longest time, I couldn't even share this story. It took me just until the last 2-3 years to finally open up about this. We're in 2024, and I didn't open up about this until about 2021, 22. I spent 10 years of my life living in shame, living in guilt, living in all these emotions that I held on to because I gave up on my squad, or so I thought. I felt shame because I made the decision to go out there and blow this explosive in place, and I got injured, and I left my squad out there for 3 months on their own. 2 years ago, God brought me to my knees, and he said, it's time to surrender. It's time to submit. And I stayed obedient to him. And I'm truly blessed and grateful to stand up here and share this story with you today. You're going to see 25 banners out there with the faces and the names and the dates of the Marines, 25 of them that didn't make it back. From October 7th to January 20th, in a 4-month span, my battalion lost 25. That's about how many people are in this room. And here I was thinking that I was potentially going to be on one of these banners. And again, I'll share this story with you because, not because it puts me up here, but because I face challenges, adversity, roadblocks, setbacks, fallbacks in life. Mentally, I had to dig in and fight through that. So whatever it is you're going through in life, out in the field, at home, school, relationship, family, fill in your blank. You can get through it. And I'm grateful now that 2 years ago when God brought me to my knees, a couple months later, almost a year later, he said it's time to minister. And now I get to minister youth at my youth group at church as a ministry leader. Now I get to minister young adults, and I get to minister in a men's Bible study group. And I'm grateful for that. It's the best thing that's ever happened in my life. So thank you again for what you do. Remember, it's more than just a football game. You get to go out there and play for the Marines that have gone before us, or the ones that have gone and didn't make it back. Good luck the rest of the season. Thank you. God bless every single one of you.
First Sergeant Freddy Torres.